This is the Entertainment Roundup for January 20th, 2013. I'm J77. Let's get right straight to it. Let's get right straight to the point. I'm going to talk about the box office. And this is the first time I'm talking about box office in a long time. But because of the situation here, and because a lot of people are stunned, shocked, that an Arnold Schwarzenegger film did not even make the top 5, barely survived being in the top 10. A lot of people are actually casting doubts that that his comeback to the big screen is going to be short-lived. I, of course, somewhat disagree with that, but I will get to that in a minute. Because I think it's more than just people not interested. I just think it's more of demographics, and that is becoming a major factor that I think even Arnold Schwarzenegger himself have to recognize and realize that the people who saw his films in the 80s and 90s are not the same people who are seeing films now. The demographic is different. The people who are going to see films have a different taste in action films. And I believe that Arnold Schwarzenegger, as much as I love his films, have to recognize and realize that his name alone is not going to carry a film to box office success. The Last Stand, which is his newest film, the first film he had, the first leading film since 2003, have only grossed $6.3 million and barely survived being in the top 10. According to reports that is expected to get $7.4 million during the Martin Luther King Day, but it's also stated that the film did not vote well at all, and this is not looking good for the planned return for Arnold Schwarzenegger to the big screen. The article also just said that other films like Mamma Mia and Broken City have indeed, or new films, have been in the top 5, but Mama tied for first with Zero Dark 30 with $21.8 million, and Broken City, the other new film, was made from Fox/New Registry, made $9 million, just short of a Gangster Squad, which made $9.1 million. So those films pretty much did 10 times better, and this is pretty much the reason why. And I'm gonna read this very brief sentence here. It says here, nearly 80% of the audience who saw this movie, who saw The Last Stand, was over the age of 25. So automatically you should already know that the people who saw these films are die-hard Arnold Schwarzenegger fans. Those who grew up with him in the 80s, those who love his films, even the ones that were not even that good, those who have seen his videos, who have followed him through his career from his movies all the way to the governorship. Those are the people who are watching his movies. Those are the people who recognize who he is and what his career was and how his acting ability is and what films he's starring in. These are the people who are seeing it. Those under the age of 25, not so much. Those between the ages of 16 and 24 have rarely seen an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. If they did, they probably watched a couple of them on video. Don't have a pretty much good insight of what his films are. Some may not even like his films. There are a lot of young adults who don't have a good sight for him as a person, and that's go back to the stuff he did as a governor, even to the stuff that happened with his wife and his child having out of wedlock. All those plays a factor is. But most importantly, the young moviegoers don't look at movies the same way as we did when we grew up. The action films they look for is different. And to be honest with you, they're not going to be rushing, unlike the Arnold Schwarzenegger fans who will watch his films and enjoy his films. The younger crowd is not going to rush to see his movies. They don't have that same fanfare that we had when we grew up, and so I think that alone played a role in his film not doing well, and the fact that a lot of people say, "Well, it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger film; it's going to do great." That's not always the case. You got to look back at the year 2000. Notice I didn't say anything about 2000 because the year 2000 was not really friendly to him. He had a couple big time flops. The last film he did that was actually was a commercial success was Terminator 3. Even that had mixed reactions to it. But overall, his he has an up and down career during his time. I mean, he didn't have great blockbuster hits. So the idea that it's because his name is there equals blockbuster success, that's not always the case. He did have flops in the 90s. He did have flops even in 2000. More so during the late 90s, early 2000s than he did during the 80s. It can happen. But most importantly, especially in this time frame, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger needs to recognize and realize that, hey, the crowd is not the same anymore. This is not the same people watching his films anymore. And he needs to recognize that his name is not going to carry a film to the box office, whether the film is good or bad. Now, with this film alone, it had the rating that I pretty much expect. It was mostly fair, and most critics said even though the film is not good, it still has some fun qualities that a lot of people who love action, who loves that kind of type of film, is going to enjoy. And to be fair, that's what it is. It's a fun, entertaining film, no more, no less. If you look for anything more, then you're fooling yourself. But the point I'm trying to say is that the crowd, it's not much of the film being good or bad. It's just the fact is that the crowd is really not that keyed into Arnold Schwarzenegger as we were. And I think that's something that I think people need to recognize. Even the Arnold Schwarzenegger fans need to recognize that that his name is just, it doesn't mean equals success. Doesn't mean it's going to be in the top 5 box office list. And I think for Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think he needs to take to step aside a little bit in terms of screen time sharing, put himself with another star that the young crowd do recognize, that will go into the big screen and watch his films. So unless he's willing to do that, I think he'd have a better shot of that film making money, and his comeback can be more pronounced than him just being I'm the star and that's it. Because honestly, I don't see his name boosting $100 million movies anymore. Just not gonna happen. But that's just but because you guys may disagree with that, I'd like to hear your opinion on that. And I'll leave your article here so you guys can check it out yourself. But I really am curious of what you guys think about that, especially with this situation. But who knows? This is the first weekend. Word of mouth could easily change that. I've seen it before, and it can happen again. So, moving on to the second story. Danny Glover made the news. This one actually caught my attention a little bit earlier. I was actually debating whether to make this a What's News or an Entertainment Roundup. I decided to do an Entertainment Roundup because it is a celebrity who's saying this. And some of the stuff he said, that it honestly got me scratching my head a little bit. It says here that conservatives are blasting the leftists for leftist bias after Danny Glover ties in Second Amendment to slavery at a school event. The article says that the conservative student group is blasting Texas A&M University for its leftist bias after actor Danny Glover made a controversial claim regarding the Second Amendment at a school event. The lethal weapons store said that the amendment was created to protect against slave revolts and help keep land from the Native Americans. It is at a breakfast honoring Martin Luther King Jr. on January 17th. The story also says that I don't know if people know the genesis of the rights to bear arms. Glover said the Second Amendment came from the right to protect themselves from slave revolts and from uprising of Native Americans. The story also said that a revolt from the people were stolen. The revolt from the people who were stolen from their land. A revolt from the people whose land was stolen from. That's what the genesis of the Second Amendment is. The student group, Texas Conservatives, the first to post a video of the award after remarks said that Texas A&M is at fault for inviting Glover. I don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why. The organization launched a petition demanding the school to stop inviting radical leftist speakers from furthering their leftist bias. Not going to happen. It should be a time time for real reflection and respect, he told the conservative online activist group Campus Reform of the King event. Instead, the university pushed for a political agenda. The director of the University of the Center said the school had no idea what Columbia would touch on the rights to bear arms during the speech. And that's why I think that this doesn't make any sense. It also said that Glover made headlines on the political review before. The 66-year-old is a member of the board of directors on the Center for Economic and Policy Research, has policies criticizing Iraq war as well as the Obama administration for foreign policies. So it's not too much of a leftist if he's criticizing Obama, which, let's be honest, even Democrats does that from time to time. I'll say this about this story. I'll leave the link for it for you guys to read, and you guys can come up with your own opinion on this. But I'll say this: I'm not gonna sit there and say that the Second Amendment was for all that stuff. It wouldn't shock me if some of it was true, but I seriously doubt it, because one, slavery's been around before America, the United States even existed. Slavery's been around almost pretty much from the beginning of time. So that doesn't really hold much merit, because if you're gonna say that's what it's for, you got to remember that there were other countries who had similar situations that the United States had. And two, invasion of other people's land has been around since the beginning of time. I mean, countries didn't last long back in those times. That's why they had medieval times, the Dark Age, the Silver Age, or whatever age you want to talk about. Wars have happened, uprisings has happened, destruction of countries have happened, destruction of cultures have happened. So it's not just the United States who was involved in that. I'm not buying that the Second Amendment was for revolt of slavery. In fact, there was talk about issues on slavery before the United States even became a nation. In fact, that was up for the agenda about all free people, but they didn't do it because of obvious reasons, because they know that people wouldn't buy into that. But there was talk about the slave issue before and after the United States was founded. So I really don't think that was the main issue. The right to bear arms, I believe, was for what at that time was in case another country comes over to invade, which was actually easy to do at the time. They have their guns ready to rise up against the country that wished to take them over. Keep in mind, the United States was very small back then. It wasn't the same United States as we see now. So the idea that that was the sole reason, it's not. I think he's wrong in that category. And I'm also kind of surprised he did that in a Martin Luther King breakfast. I really was. I don't know what he was trying to do there. I don't know what his agenda was, but I think that it was in poor taste. It was bad judgment. And there's no clear case that this is a clear-cut case of he's showing his political agenda. And I thought that was, to me, there's a time and a place. You didn't need to do that at that time. If you want to talk about what Martin Luther King have done or what he stands for, fine. But bringing up that related to the gun issue that we're having here, I think that was the wrong thing to do. So I definitely think he was a little bit out of line by doing that. As for people blaming the school, again, I don't even think they knew that he was going to say that. They didn't expect him to say that, and I think that to blame the school for that, I think you got to be realistic here. Did they actually knew he was going to say it? I don't think they did. I really don't. I think they knew he was going to speak, but they can't control what comes out of the person's mouth once it comes out. I mean, they probably were just as shocked as anybody else. But the idea that a lot of conservatives want to ban or shut people up, hey, look, Danny Glover has his opinion. That's fine. I think he did it in poor taste, but to say you want to ban him for life or do anything else because he has an opinion, give me a break. Guys, come on. Yeah, this is what it is. I don't know what the school's going to do. I don't think they should ban him. I just think they should have made it more clear that they, look, keep it on this. Don't try and throw your opinion out there. But again, to me, this is just a weird story. I don't know why Glover did it. I think he was wrong in doing it. I totally disagree about that. That was the reason why Second Amendment has been done. Slavery's been around long before America. Slavery's been slave invasions and destruction of other cultures has been going on, not just in America but other countries. And to be very straight up, other countries did it far worse. Um, so yeah, that's a weird story. I'm gonna let you guys comment on it, but to me, that's just I don't even know what to say about that one. That's just weird. To me, that's just very, very weird. Also, very, very weird is this story. This linebacker, which continues to keep being on my freaking front page. Oh my God! You think he committed murder or something? And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, for those who don't follow football or college football, a linebacker who goes by the name of Manti Te'o, I hope I'm saying his last name right, is pretty much involved with a situation that many people are demanding answers from him for. And according to reports now, Katie Couric will have an interview with him on Sunday, which will be aired, I believe, Thursday. Yeah, it's going to be aired on Thursday. Now, what is this? Why is this such a big deal? Where apparently, the tragic story of this is what happened. There was a story out about his girlfriend and her injuries and a car accident and a death from leukemia was one of the most widely recounted stories in U.S. sports last year. As Notre Dame made a surprise drive towards the national championship, the BCS Bowl. Of course, they lost. I'm not very happy how they lost, but that's not what's been hitting the page. What happened is that the story, which involves this girlfriend who we now find out doesn't exist, has been pretty much has pretty much spiraled way out of control. A lot of people want to know why he lied. A lot of people know who was involved in this hoax. And this goes on by a lot of things. And this is just pretty much what I've been reading around. A lot of people believe that he did this so that way he can have a better shot at getting the Heisman Trophy. A lot of people, to me, I find that very stupid if that was the case. And he definitely deserved all the criticism in the world. He needs to apologize for that if that's the case. Others believe that he really actually thought the woman was real, which I somewhat not buying. And the reason why is one of the articles says here. It says Te'o had denied being one of the elaborate hoax, telling ESPN Friday he believed his relationship was real with the woman who turned out to be an online fabrication. Online fabrication, that's the key word here. I'm going to read this. It says, Te'o and his parents, Brian and Arthur Te'o, will appear in an interview on Katie to be broadcast on Thursday, January 24th on ABC. I wasn't faking it, Te'o said in an off-camera ESPN interview, experts in which were posted on ESPN.com. I wasn't a part of this. But here's the thing that really caught my attention. Here's the thing that really bothers me a little bit. And I'm going to keep reading here. And this is why I'm wondering what the hell, how the hell did he not know this was probably a hoax, or how he felt he had a relationship when in fact this happens. ESPN interview with Te'o was the first since the sports blog Deadspin.com on Wednesday exposed tales of his girlfriend Linkium and her death as a hoax, and that a friend of Te'o's named a guy I can't pronounce. I'm gonna say his friend. It's on the article. You can read it, but it is a name I cannot announce if my life depends on it. But it says that his friend was behind this. Now here's the thing. This is what pissed me off the most about this. Te'o acknowledged in a statement on Wednesday and the ESPN interview that he had never met the woman in person, although he considered her to be his girlfriend and said he has been dubbed. Now, I want to go back to the beginning of what this article said. This article said that the story of that They was told it was a story of his girlfriend, her injuries, her car accident, her death from leukemia. All that was reported. It was widely recounted by U.S. Sports. It was told all last year. And you're telling me that for all this stuff that was being said, you never met the person eye to eye. Never talked to the person eye to eye. Never meet, never seen face to face. Didn't even do a Skype. And you felt you was dubbed. I'm sorry, I just can't buy into this. I refuse to buy into this. This is the thing that really people are like, wait a minute. Think about this for a minute. Wait a minute. You told a story about your girlfriend and all the stuff she's went through, all the stuff that she has gone through, leading to her death, and yet you never met her? Never exchanged phone numbers? Never visited others family members? Nah, something's wrong. And look, I understand that there are relationships. People do have online relationships. You know, they do have Skype conversations. But at least you've seen the person. And I got news for you. That person is not... You can't really claim that's your girlfriend when you never met the person. Didn't even know what he looks like. And he's wondering why people are questioning him. His integrity. Because that's what it's all about. It's his integrity. Because people are saying if he lies about something about this to get sympathy, who knows what he can lie about more on a professional level. And people, I got news for you, are getting tired of these kind of stories of being nothing more than hoax. And it's not just Te'o, it's for a lot of people who said they got cancer so they can get donations when they don't have cancer, using their children, their own flesh and blood, convincing their kids they have cancer and that they were dying, shaving their heads bald so they can get donations, so they can get money. How many times we saw that story? How many times we saw people go on these talk shows saying they got this or their kids got that, only to find out months later on that it was all nothing but a big lie. And if he did knew that this was, and this is the thing that bothers me, if he did knew that this was, why couldn't he just say, look, this ain't true, this didn't happen, I don't know who told you that story, but I can assure you that that's not true. I apologize for those who thought that was, but I assure you that that didn't happen. This went on for a whole damn year. And if I'm Te'o, I would have got on his friend and say, hey, look, man, you got to come over here. You better own up to what you did because I'm getting in trouble now. I don't say too much about his friend. Maybe there's some article I haven't read it for, they talked about it, but I haven't seen too much article about his friend. But the point is that whether he knew or didn't know, he didn't do anything to stop this. It went on for a year. And only after the Notre Dame situation, and look, before I even go further, I'm not blaming Notre Dame for anything. If anything, Notre Dame is just as baffled as anybody else is, and they actually did the right thing saying, hey, look, bro, you got to talk about this. This is not going away. This is not going away. You need to go and talk about this. You need to own up to something. You need to come out and say something and explain to people how this thing went on for a year, and it turned out to be one big giant lie. Now, a lot of people have said that there should be criminal charges. It's not going to happen for one reason and one reason only. One, there was no money was taken from this. Neither Te'o or his friend, whose name I can't pronounce, didn't earn anything from this. Now, the papers who publish it can actually, if they choose to, can pursue legal action because they was put in a situation where it can actually cost them their business. They can be held liable for false information. They gave false information. It's not their fault, of course. They was only reporting what they was given to the individual. But this idea that this went on for a year and this guy never met the person, I find this very, 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 very sad. Now, there could be surprisingly reasons why this actually happened. But probably his friend probably was the one that was doing all the texting, all the typing, the emails, giving him a picture, believing that this was the girl that he was had a relationship with. It could happen. I mean, cons do this all the time, especially when it comes to email addresses or social sites. Cons do this all the time. So it's not a possibility that he may have been typing with someone or may emailing someone he believed to be the girl he was. I'm not saying that that's not possible, but the point is you don't know this person. You only know from what she's giving you, and sometimes you can't take it at face value, and that's the thing that Te'o should have realized. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say. Honestly, I don't think it's gonna hurt him in terms of legal actions. Even though the papers are making it look like he did an illegal crime, when in reality he didn't really take anything. He didn't take any money. The guy didn't take any money. But it's not just about that. It's about integrity, and that's what people are more upset about. It's about him possibly lying about something he shouldn't be lying about. That's the whole thing. And there's this other woman who is probably his girlfriend, who is alive and well, that also going to play into the factor. So a lot of stuff is just coming out of nowhere, and he's just going to have to deal with this situation now. This may affect his pick on the NFL. Teams may shy away from that because if they feel that, well, if the guys lie about this, what else could be behind it? They do take that to account. Just because you're a football player doesn't mean they take credibility to account in terms of honesty. They do in some cases. The NFL have not said anything, and they don't, and justly likely so. They don't need to say anything. But the point I'm trying to say is that this is not going to go away anytime soon, and he needs to really, really explain himself, because this is bad. You don't deceive the public like that, and no question about it. This was a deceit that has backfired big time, and he needs to explain that. It says here in the last paragraph in this article, which right away I will leave for you guys to look at. It says here that Notre Dame is one of the most powerful institutions in the U.S. Collective athletics. Held a news conference within hours of the Deadpan.com article to say that Te'o has been duped. I don't know about the dupe part, because again, it could be possible. I'm not saying it's not in the realm of the possibility, but he had a whole year. That's the whole thing. You had a year. You could have at least it could have came to you right away that said this should have been. It should have came to you saying that, wait a minute, something's not right. You haven't met the woman, you haven't seen the woman, and yet you post this about the woman having cancer and everything else. I'm sorry, that alone bothers me. You gotta be careful when you do that, especially when dealing with things online. That's how it is. And if you never met the person, maybe it's just best you don't mention the person in public, especially if you don't met the person. Because sites like these will call you out on it, and he got called out on it, and man, is he paying for it. Now, for those who said that this story is going a little bit too far, I understand. I agree. It is gone way out of it got blown way out of proportion. It made my front page 3 times in 1 week. Had a 2-page spread on this article alone. You do think this man have stole $1 million? But it's not. But it's, believe me, it's more than just the hoax. It's credibility. And any time when something like that, and you find out that the person was lying the whole time, that something was a hoax like that, it does question. Your credibility does come into question. And I think that He has a lot of explaining to do, and what better way to start than Katie Couric? I don't know how that means gonna held, but man, oh man, I'd like to know how the hell that he got duped into that. But believe me, I'm more critical of the fact that he actually made that story, knowing full well he didn't not met this person, and this happens. I'll let you guys leave your own opinion to you. I'd like to know what you're feeling on that matter. Let's move on. I got two more stories to talk about. I might as well talk about Jennifer Lawrence briefly. A lot of people not very happy with Jennifer Lawrence's performance at Saturday Night Live. There was a brief story on the Saturday Night Live event. Jennifer Lawrence also has some few things to say about her performance in Saturday Night Live. You just say a lot of people thought that it was not good, and people felt a little bit disappointed that Saturday Night Live would take a month off and come up with these kind of sketches. Now, I'm going to be very straight up fair. I did not see it. I cannot judge it. I don't know what was in the skit, and to be honest with you, I haven't watched Saturday Night Live since Woody Harrelson last appeared a long time ago. So, to me, it won all its nominaties way before Jennifer Lawrence came to the picture. But those who are still fans of it are not very pleased with her performance. They felt it was bland, blah, 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 blah. It just wasn't a very good performance. They said the one sketch that they did The Habit, they claimed that was actually pretty good. They basically made fun about The Habit being broken into 3 parts, and this one, they said it's now being divided into 18 parts, which actually was pretty interesting. But in other words, but overall the show was not that great. My own feeling on this, I'm not only on fault with Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence shouldn't care too much about what happened at Saturday Night Live. She didn't have a good performance, fine. You're entitled to have one bad performance in your career. And to be honest with you, this is the least great performance she can put up with versus the resume of good films she was in and the awards she's been nominated and possibly won. You know what? I'll take. You know what? Fine. There was a bad performance. Knock it off your shoulder. Move on. Trust me, this is not going to affect her career whatsoever. She's been nominated for the awards in Silver Linings Playbook. She's nominated for an Oscar for the same role. She's been nominated for other films in the past, Coal Miners Mountain. She's also got 2 franchises that she's working on, the X-Men as well as the Hunger Games franchise. Trust me, this Saturday Night Live is nothing more than something of a side job to her. This is not going to bother her. It's not going to affect her career whatsoever. And the fact that a lot of people are actually mad that there was not a good showing from her. Please, you know what? It's Saturday Night Live. You know, I'm pretty sure that there was others who came before her that had not so good, if not worse, performance than her. And I think that a lot of people just need to just chill out. It's not the end of the world. She's still going to be in movies, and she's still going to, bring in the big receipts. She is a hot actress right now, a very well done actress. And to me, if this is one of her worst roles, worse than probably the film that she did, The Girl That Lives Next Door, I believe that was called. You know what? Fine. Take it for what it is. Just know that she's going to be another film that pretty much will immediately erase her performance in Saturday Night Live. I'll leave a link below from this article. It's very, very short. Pretty much is a briefing of a person's opinion on it. But to me, it's not that big of a deal. So what? She had a bad performance. Big deal. She's entitled to have one every now and then. Last but not least, Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh yes, Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the most hottest and probably actors in Hollywood today, has announced that he is going to be taking a break, a long break. How long is that break? I'm not too sure, but he recently told a German publicist that I am going on a long break. I've done 3 movies in 2 years, and I'm just worn out. However, he's not going to stay home. His break is going to be consisting of going to do some environmental work. I would like to improve the world, he said. I will fly around the world doing good for the environment, which is very interesting. Um, the article also explains how he was beat out by Chris Walls in Django Unchained, but he was recently nominated for a Golden Globe. And his latest movie, The Great Gatsby, will hit theaters on May 10th. Now, I'll say this right now: when he goes on a break, he really do go on a break. Leonardo DiCaprio have done this before. It happened in the '90s, where his last film, which I do not like at all, it's not because he was in it, because it was a bad film. The Beach. He did that film, and next thing you know, he disappeared. No way I've seen or heard from him. Many people actually thought he fell off, that he couldn't get a role in the films. But in reality, he just took a vacation. He took a break from it all. And once he was ready, he came back, and man, he came back swinging. Gangs of New York, Catch Me If You Can, The Departed, Blood Diamond, Shutter Island, Django Unchained, and now this film, which will be set to be released May 10th, The Great Gatsby. So he's been doing film after film, and believe me, his good to bad ratio is just basically been a 90%. I think it's only one film many people didn't really care too much about. But in any case, he has done a tremendous job on screen. His presence is unbelievable. And the fact is that he has done so many great films, and not one of them earned him an Academy Award. It's just mind-boggling. It makes me wonder why do the committee have a grudge on him? Because there's no way. I would have thought that the year when he had not one but two great films out at the same time, Blood Diamond and The Departed, I thought, okay, either he's going to win for The Departed or Blood Diamond. There's no way he can lose with these two great films out that he has done. And he didn't win it. And I'm like, wow, if he can't win with two of the films he was nominated for, I don't know what the hell I don't know when he's going to win it. Inception, they didn't even bother nominating for him on that. They didn't even bother nominating him with Django Unchained. A lot of people, including the Nostalgia Critic, had mentioned this, which is very interesting that how the Nostalgia Critic, his feelings towards it. He said he was a great actor, but he also felt that every time he sees him, he just sees Leonardo DiCaprio playing somebody, and I never really thought about that before, because for one, and until I actually, of course, reevaluate a lot of other films that I watch, and I say, well, maybe that's partially true, but doesn't mean he's a bad actor. I think he's great at what he does. Jim Carrey, I can somewhat understand. But I still go on record saying that Jim Carrey's film The Truman Show was one of the best things he ever done. He followed that up with Man on the Moon, and I actually believe that The Majestics is a good film that doesn't get enough respect of what it is, and I think that's what's the film that I think a lot of people have got the wrong impression with when the film. But with Leonardo DiCaprio, I'll say this: when I first saw him on the big screen, I didn't really care for him. I didn't really care for his acting abilities. I thought he was just this heartthrob that they put in because he had the looks, not much of his acting. I saw Romeo and Juliet, and I thought that film was well done. I thought Leonardo DiCaprio was actually great in Romeo and Juliet. I thought the film was misplaced. That's what hurt the film. The film should never have been in present time. It should have been where it was supposed to be with the dialogue they was using, and that was back in the time where Shakespeare was alive, in that time period, not in the future day, because none of the stuff he was saying add up. But the acting of it was pretty damn good. I was pleasantly surprised how much I actually liked the Leonardo DiCaprio performance, and I was even more surprised on how he was actually really very well done in the Titanic. And I'm not a big fan of that movie at all. I think that film, in my own personal opinion, is a little bit overrated, but that's to each his own. I know a lot of people love that film, especially females, and that's fine. That's your film. I'm not gonna argue with that. But I thought he was good in that movie, and I was stunned that he didn't get an award for it. I'm like, okay, well, maybe he will get it next time. But movie after movie, great performances, and the Academy Awards still won't recognize him. I kind of wondering, is 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 there somebody out there that says no, I will never nominate you for an award as long as I live? If that's the case, man, they need to get some younger guys to vote, because that's, to me, it doesn't make sense for this guy not to get an award. But in any case, in terms of his absence, this is not shocking to me because he did it before. Beach, he was gone for a long time, came back, went to the movies. So if he chooses to come back, whether 1 year, 2 years, even 3 years, I don't think it's going to affect him one bit, because A, he's such a great actor, and a lot of directors love working with him, that once he comes back, immediately he's going to find scripts on his coffee table for him to look through, or in these days, the tablet. So he's not gonna be struggling for work. He's gonna have to go and hustle for work. And to me, he deserves a break. I mean, let's be real. He's not one of those actors who makes 5 or 6 films a year. There's a lot of actors who just continue making film after film. They barely to the point where they barely even see their home. I don't even think they have a home anymore. They live in the trailer and just do the films wherever the films come. Samuel Jackson used to be a running joke that this man is in everything. And if you take a look at his resume and the scripts he has, yeah, he's pretty much everything. He's been in film after film after film, non-stop. So, but there's also another reason, which I'll get to probably another time, another video. But he's not one of those actors. I'm not saying he's very selective, but it doesn't mean he's not going to over push himself. If he feels he's mostly drained, then by all means, take a break. Do what you gotta do. Go on a retreat. Go on a search for enlightenment if you want to. But to me, I'm not worried about him falling down in his career, because for one, he's still in his prime, and two, he's such a good actor that he will get roles once he comes back. So there you have it. I really don't see there's too much worry. And all people saying, worry, oh, if he doesn't, he can take a break, but once he comes back, he's going to be in bad movies. Well, he did that before, and he gotten better. He really gotten better. He really went that extra step in his film. Because I'll be honest with you, when I saw Leonardo DiCaprio on the big screen, I'm going to say it again, I did not see him lasting too long as a film. I thought he was pretty much going to be starring a lot of these films for youngsters, and he would just simply fade away. That didn't happen, and I don't think it's ever going to happen. And I'll be honest with you, he deserves every amount of credit as an actor. I think he's great, and once he's done saying I'm ready to come back, believe me, I don't be surprised if he comes back with a film that will blow everybody away. That's just my opinion on that matter. Well, that's it, guys, for the edition of Entertainment Roundup. I will leave, as usual, all the articles I talked to. You guys can comment on it. I'd like to hear your opinion on it. But until then, this is J77 saying take care, be safe. I will talk to you soon.